They say the world changes. They say time moves, seasons pass, fortunes rise and fall, and life evolves. But here's the truth most never dare to confront. Nothing changes until you do. Your circumstances, they are reflections. Your results, they are echoes. Your future, it's a mirror held up to your mind. We live in an age that worships information, that bows to the gods of speed and convenience. But here's what no algorithm can replicate, what no device can download: a mind made up, a soul set on fire, a spirit unbreakable. And that doesn't come from outside. That comes from within. That comes from change, real change. And it begins the moment you decide you're done being who you were. Look around. How many people wait for the world to change before they do? They wait for the economy. They wait for the government. They wait for the right job, the right partner, the right stroke of luck. They wait and wait and wait, as if life owes them transformation. But transformation is not owed, it is earned. Henry Ford didn't wait for permission to revolutionize the world. He became the revolution. When they told him the automobile was impossible, when they said horses are enough, he didn't argue. He simply changed. He changed his mind, his habits, his beliefs, until reality had no choice but to catch up. You want the world to move for you? Then move yourself first, because the mountains don't shift for the weak of will. The tides don't turn for the ones still stuck in their excuses. Nothing changes until you do. And I'm not talking about surface change. I'm not talking about reading a quote and feeling good for 5 minutes. I'm talking about the kind of change that burns through you like wildfire. The kind that tears through the lies you've told yourself for years. The kind that levels the old foundation so something greater can rise. Your mindset, that is the gatekeeper, the silent architect of your destiny. Everything you want, everything you fear, everything you avoid, it all starts there. Do you know what Napoleon Hill said? Whatever the mind of man can conceive and believe, it can achieve. Not just conceive, not just believe, both. Because belief without vision is blind, and vision without belief is paralyzed. You've been conditioned to think that your current reality is a life sentence. But it's not. It's a starting point. Every giant, every visionary, every empire builder you admire, they began with nothing more than thought, belief, and relentless decision. Thomas Edison failed over 10,000 times before lighting up the world. Why? Because he wasn't waiting for the world to change. He became the change by becoming a man who refused to quit. He didn't have better luck. He had better vision, better grit, better faith. And here's the truth that society hides from you. You don't rise by accident. You rise by design. But design takes clarity. Clarity about who you are. Clarity about what you stand for. Clarity about where you're going, even if the road hasn't been paved yet. The fog doesn't clear until you decide to walk through it anyway. You will not think your way to success by sitting in silence. You will not meditate your way to greatness unless you get up and fight for the vision that whispers in your soul. That vision is sacred. That vision is your responsibility, because no one else was given your mind, your experiences, your voice. But here's where most fall short. They confuse motion with progress. They stay busy, but not intentional. They drown in to-do lists, but never build the life they actually want. Vision without purpose is noise, and purpose is born from decision. Not once, every single day. You don't wake up with purpose. You choose it, in your words, in your rituals, in your defiance of the easy path. Look at Lincoln, born in a log cabin, self-educated, mocked, defeated, broken. But he rose, not because of the world he was in, but because of the man he became within. Discipline is not punishment. It is liberation from chaos. It is the daily handshake between who you are now and who you are destined to become. Discipline means doing what must be done, especially when you don't feel like it. Because feelings are liars. They will talk you out of greatness and sell you comfort as if it were peace. But peace doesn't come from comfort. Peace comes from knowing you are becoming what you were born to be. That takes work. That takes sacrifice. That takes standing in front of the mirror, eye to eye with your own reflection and saying, I will not back down. Not today. not ever. Nothing changes until you do. Not your bank account, not your health, not your relationships, not your sense of meaning. You are the root. Everything else is the fruit. You've got to stop watering weeds and calling it growth. Stop clinging to old habits and praying for new results. Stop blaming, avoiding, delaying, and start deciding. Decide to become the kind of person who commands results. Every action you take is either a vote for the old you or a declaration of the new. And the universe doesn't respond to wishful thinking. It responds to aligned action, consistent action, courageous action. So don't ask if it's working. Ask if you're working. Don't wonder when your life will change. Ask when you'll finally change. That's the real question, isn't it? Will you become the person your vision requires? Will you become disciplined enough to silence your distractions? Will you become resilient enough to keep going when it gets hard? Because it will get hard. But that's the price of greatness. That's the tuition of transformation. And the question is not if you can. The question is, will you? Because nothing changes until you do. The world doesn't reward your potential. It rewards your execution. Your dreams are not denied. They're simply waiting for you to rise to their level. And the only way to reach them is to become the version of yourself that those dreams demand. You don't need more time. You don't need more chances. You need to become more. That's the harsh truth most people won't tell you. They'll coddle your excuses. They'll sympathize with your comfort. But what you need is not comfort. You need confrontation. A confrontation with the gap between who you are and who you were meant to be. Because life doesn't get easier. You just get stronger, wiser, sharper, more focused, more faithful to the future than to your fears. When Walt Disney was fired from a newspaper for lacking imagination, he didn't retreat. He didn't collapse under rejection. He dared to see something no one else could. He held the image of an entire world in his mind long before it was ever concrete. That is the power of inner transformation. And that is available to you right now. Not someday, not maybe, now. But you must be willing to trade your old story for a better one, to release the identity that's kept you safe but small. You've been loyal to limitations for far too long. It's time to get honest. Are you in love with your future, or are you in love with your comfort zone? Because you can't have both. Purpose is not a feeling, it's a fight. It's the fire in your gut that says, I don't care how long it takes. I will not die with this greatness still locked inside me. But that fire, it needs fuel. It needs the kindling of daily choices, small disciplines, and the quiet strength to show up when no one's watching. That's where your greatness is born. In the unseen, in the silence, in the early hours when the rest of the world is asleep. When you're grinding, growing, preparing for a reality only you can see. That's when the transformation begins. You can't wait to be inspired. You can't rely on motivation, because motivation is a visitor, but identity is a resident. You need to become the kind of person who doesn't need external permission to act. The kind of person who does the work whether it's raining or sunny, whether they're tired or fresh, celebrated or criticized. Because that's the kind of person who bends reality. Every empire, every breakthrough, every life of impact begins the same way, with a decision to change, to break the cycle, to stop repeating the patterns of the past, to stop being available to every distraction, to stop being loyal to mediocrity, and instead become available only to your vision. But make no mistake, change demands loss. Loss of who you used to be, loss of habits that numb you, loss of the friends who don't want to grow, loss of the identity that made you feel safe but kept you invisible. And this is where most give up, because change will cost you comfort before it rewards you with clarity. You'll walk through fire, through doubt, through loneliness, still be asked to keep going. That's the test. That's the forge. And only the ones who endure the fire become unbreakable. Look at every name history remembers, and you'll find one thing in common. They changed themselves first. Andrew Carnegie, born poor in a one-room cottage in Scotland. He crossed an ocean with nothing. He worked as a bobbin boy in a cotton factory. But in that dark factory, in the midst of noise and heat and despair, he read, he learned, he visualized something no one else could see. and he changed. He didn't wait for opportunity to knock. He built the door. He became a mind so powerful, so refined, so relentless, that the world couldn't help but rearrange around him. That is the essence of true personal power. You don't chase opportunity, you attract it by who you become, not who you pretend to be. Not the titles, not the roles, not the stories you were handed, but the truth of you. The one who was born with fire, the one who used to dream in color, the one who once believed that anything was possible. That part of you is not gone. It's just been waiting. Waiting for the moment you'd finally say, enough. Enough of the noise. Enough of the delays. Enough of the distractions. It's time. Time to stop existing and start living. Because when you finally change, really change, when you stop negotiating with fear, when you stop apologizing for your ambition, when you stop waiting for the world to believe in you and finally believe in yourself, the world changes too. Doors appear, people align, opportunities show up, but only after you do. So rise, not because you have all the answers, but because your soul is done playing small, because your future is screaming from the horizon. Become me, claim me. Don't let this life pass without becoming the legend you were born to be. The clock is ticking, the world is waiting, and the mirror is staring back. So one more time, say it with your chest, say it with your soul. Nothing changes until I do. And now, you do.